Mike's Music Method. Hey guys, what is going on? I'm bringing you a video, a short video, on how to practice fingerpicking hard passages. This video is inspired by an email that Bo wrote to me. So hey Bo, this is to you, and it goes out to my students Ben and Craig, who have come across a couple passages in like a John Hurt song, or whether it's a Town song or whatever, and it's just how do you get over these humps where you feel pretty good, but then there's a couple measures in a song that really trip you up. So I'm going to take two measures from Lonesome Valley and talk you through a bunch of different ways to get over those hard humps in a song. But the main takeaway, just remember this, is learn before you practice, and don't practice mistakes, all right? Sometimes you're going to practice mistakes, but don't make a habit out of that, which almost always means slow the F down. Learn the song, then slow it the F down. But even before you slow it down, learn it. So it'll just hyper-focus. I'll throw these two isolated measures from Lonesome Valley up here. So if we look at this measure, all that I'm going to do is play. I almost don't like putting the tab up here now because it takes away from Mark's beautiful Towns picture that he made me. Thanks. I'll link Mark's awesome YouTube channel down below. He paid me for a Towns tutorial with his awesome artwork and that awesome artwork there. Two amazing pieces of Towns Van Zandt handmade art. So anyways, I'll just look at the measure, and usually I start with a thumb just to make sure I know what's going on. So that's it. That feels pretty good. Then often what you can do if you know the measure is going to be tricky is just add one note at a time. So all I'm going to do, right? So I just added that first melodic note, that's that 3 up on the E string into the song here. Right, I'm not adding the next part yet. And I want to make sure, all right, I'm using my thumb and then I'm using the middle finger to play that one. So I'm going to commit to that. But also, this may seem easy so far, but really consider when you're going to prep that middle finger. So I'm doing it after that 6th string note. Now it touches. And then when do I prepare it? Right there, a little bit before. So it's ready to go. So that's even a lot to think about there, is the preparation of where your fingers are. And then I'll add the other note, and that's going to be my index finger. And again, when am I putting my index finger there and making it ready to go? When you're playing slow, it might not seem that important, but when you play it to speed, it's all about the preparation, getting the fingers ready before they play. So you can almost have this middle finger ready at the beginning of the measure. Then right when I hit that middle finger, my thumb and index are both preparing for that next moment. So there is a lot of prep work happening in there. And so then finally I have the whole measure. And for a while you just want to like breathe through it. And I know that seems silly, but first off, don't look at the page. Get your eyes off the page. Do you have it memorized? Maybe you start looking at your hand instead of at the tab. And while I'm doing that, are my shoulders relaxed? My hands relaxed? Sometimes, believe it or not, I will tense up my feet when I'm playing a hard passage. So really kind of just scan your body for a while. And don't play it too fast. Just make sure that everything's loose. And then another element is, am I palm muting my right hand? What notes are staccato? That has a very different feel, so you might want to listen to the song and consider. Not only am I playing the notes right, but do I have the staccato right, the legato right, which notes are held, which ones are punctuated and accented. Now we'll go into the next measure, and this is a big movement here. Anytime there's a slide, I'll just break that motion apart. So I'm here to here, and I've got to end up on 5 and 5 with the same 2 fingers. So one common mistake that my student had, I won't name him to embarrass him, Craig, is his fingers were flailing around when he wasn't using them, which is a common mistake. You want to keep them close. You don't have to make them tight, but you kind of always want everything in this nice position right here. So you don't want these to flail about. And can you just practice that movement from 3 and 3 to 5 and 5? I'm still using ring and pinky. And this might just be an exercise in and of itself. If any of you are people who sit down and relax and watch a show, while you're doing that, just grab your guitar. If you're watching it with someone else, wrap a sock around the neck so it's not loud and annoying. And you can just practice these really simple ideas. So I want to make sure I know how to transition to the next chord or the next measure in a hard passage. So I might just isolate that. Oh, one more thing about the previous measure. You don't always have to practice with the chord down. So if the left hand's easy, then just focus on that right hand and get that down with only the thought going into your right hand. And we'll keep going because I might come up with some different ideas here and trouble spots as we play through this. Yeah, it's a really tricky measure here. So again, what I will do is I got my thumb down, same idea, and I'll just pinch, I'll play the first melodic note, which is the pinch. And do I have that down in the second measure? I do. Now I'll add the second note. Right, I'll check my staccato. There's so many options. You can have the low one ring and staccato the high one. So after I play that pinky, I'm just releasing the pressure to get it to stop. You don't want to lift it real high because then you might get a pull-off sound. But I'm releasing the pressure from the fretboard without lifting my finger off the string. Right, I'm just slightly releasing. I'm not saying the song should be that way, but you can explore all of this stuff before you start speeding things up and making it more complicated. So I got the first two melodic notes, now I'll add the next one, which is the 3rd fret. And then I'll double check my work. I'll go back to that previous measure. All of these steps, each one you can maybe spend 10 minutes on, 20 minutes on, half an hour on, right? There's no proper speed you should be doing this. It's whatever takes your brain to learn it. You want to learn it not only mentally, but with your muscles, muscle memory. You want to learn it before you start practicing it. So this might be a whole long drawn out process. So we'll continue with the 4th melody note. That's a lot there, so this might spend a long time on that. And when we'll hyper focus on those last couple notes there. So what I'm doing is thumb, index, and right when I play that index, my middle finger is prepping. So you want to always see what the fingers that aren't playing, what they're doing to prepare for the next note. So right when I play that index finger, my thumb and my middle finger are getting ready for that pinch. And if that's a weak spot, I'll hyper focus on that idea. Sometimes I'll just play nonsense, make it a little study piece, just so I don't get too bored. You almost make it a song. Try it on a different chord, on different strings. And that way you're working through it without getting bored, right? It's a creative way. And often when we're being creative, you're more likely to get into a flow state and forget about what you're obsessing over. it doesn't feel like I'm practicing anymore because I'm taking that pattern and doing something interesting with it. And not only is that good for this song, but it's taking this cool idea that you took from John Hurt and making it applicable to all of these other songs and ideas. And sometimes you even end up writing a cool little riff when you do that. So that's the added bonus, and that happens quite often. So then finally I'll add the last note, but maybe I'll just do the last four notes or beats of that measure to make sure I really got it, because it's hard. And here I notice that it's hard because it's index, middle, index. So maybe that becomes its own little study piece as well. Yeah, and that can be its own little thing too. Just playing that pattern on different chords, different string sets, getting the hand really comfortable with it. I won't belabor it, as I always do. But that is the idea, to slow it down. Maybe you're focusing on the right hand only, doing it measure by measure, building up note by note in the measure. You can keep the thumb pattern going, but add the melodic notes. I do not recommend doing the melody separate because it's too random. It doesn't sound like the song without that thumb going. I don't know how helpful it is to do it broken apart. So with this Travis style fingerpicking stuff, keep that thumb consistent and only build one note at a time melodically until it feels really good, then add the next one. Alright, so I'm building kind of almost section by section, a little bit at a time, only adding one melodic note at a time, and keep it in a rhythm. If you want to put a drum beat on, go to YouTube, find what tempo you're at, and kind of bang it out like that. Hopefully this video has been helpful and has given you some ideas, and just know we all get stuck on these hurdles. There's always tricky passages. Don't ignore them. Often when you dive into those moments, those are the moments that you learn the most from, because you're pushing it. It's called, like some people call it, deliberate practice. You're not just playing whatever songs you know, but you are deliberately seeking out those areas where you're pushing your limits, and you're putting a lot of time into that. Don't burn yourself out. 20, 25 minutes at a time. Get up, take a break, walk around, then play something easier, something you enjoy, and then go back when you have your attention and your reserves are replenished, and hash away deliberate practice on those rough edges. All right, that's it. Don't want to ramble too much longer. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was helpful. If you're still lost or I didn't explain something clearly, comment below and I'll make another little video like this one. Later, y'all. Boot!